General Sherman's March to the Sea, also known as the Savannah Campaign, was a military campaign designed by General William T. Sherman to destroy the Confederates' morale. This march would shake the country as well as cause an uproar in the fight between the Union and the Confederates. In order to frighten Georgia's civilian population into abandoning the Confederate cause, General Sherman proposed to lead 60,000 soldiers on a 285-mile march from Atlanta to Savannah, Georgia. Before setting off, General Sherman had to wait for President Lincoln's re-election. Lincoln didn't want anything to come between him and becoming president, and what Sherman had in mind was sure to ruin his chances. As soon as Lincoln was elected, he approved Sherman's plan, and the army departed soon after. The journey began with the burning of Atlanta. On November 16, 1864, General Sherman invaded Atlanta, Georgia. They burned almost half the city in order to destroy the Confederate supplies. Known as the workshop of the Confederates, Atlanta was one of the largest railroad-oriented cities of the 19th century. Many trains carting valuable military supplies passed through the city, and the Confederates relied heavily on Atlanta to move their provisions. General Sherman's plan was to burn the Confederate reserves in order to weaken them. The army averaged 10 miles a day and continued to burn railroad foundries, pillage farms, and burn plantations. Sherman's men were known for tearing up the crossties on railroad tracks and would twist them around trees. This strategy was nicknamed General Sherman's neckties, as the severed end of the railroad tracks resembled a man's necktie. After losing Atlanta to General Sherman, the Confederates headed west to Tennessee and Alabama, attacking Union supply lines along the way. Reluctant to follow the Confederates that far south, Sherman divided his army in three, putting Oliver Howard and Henry Slocum in charge of them. Howard was headed towards Macon, and Slocum was sent towards Augusta and Milledgeville. In the meantime, Sherman continued to march towards Savannah. On November 22, 1864, the left wing, headed by Slocum, invaded Milledgeville, the capital of Georgia. They invaded the city with ease, as there was very little protection and soldiers were poorly trained. After their victory, the army stayed in the State House of Milledgeville after the governor fled. On December 13, 1864, the armies met just outside of Savannah. Sherman needed to make contact with the Union fleet, so they planned to capture Fort McAllister, which was just outside of Savannah. Although the Confederates protecting the fort had planted mines surrounding the perimeter, the Union soldiers still managed to take over the fort and make contact. Once Sherman's army had taken the fort, General Sherman ordered his men to surround the city. 10,000 Confederate soldiers led by General William J. Hardee waited inside the city. Finally, on December 21st, the city of Savannah surrendered and the Union claimed the city. As a present to Abraham Lincoln, Sherman handed him the city of Savannah and 25,000 bales of cotton. In early 1865, Sherman and his men left Savannah and burned their way through South Carolina to Charleston. In April, the Confederacy surrendered and the war was over.